we've got one of those days today where I'm going to be opening something live on stream. This is at Mark's bequest as usual. But before I do that, I hope you all had a great fireworks night. It's absolutely filthy weather here in the UK. Our fireworks night was rather, well, not quite a damp squib, but certainly damp. And apologies about yesterday's video of this beautiful puzzle by 2 to 10th, where somehow I managed to upload it with the wrong instructions on the right hand side of the screen. So I re-uploaded it, that's what happened. So I apologise to 2 to 10th about that, and for anyone confused about how those instructions could possibly, which I think were to the magic column, the day before's puzzle, how the instructions could possibly relate to this rather pretty puzzle on the screen. But now this is a weird one today. Mark has, let me just go over here. I've got to launch a file today. Look, for Simon file. Let's launch it. The Raven. Oh, hang on, this is not in... Oh, look at that. Is that actually... That is a Sudoku grid. Good grief. Right, this is very exciting. Normally, when I have to open something live on screen, it's some sort of absolutely brutally difficult puzzle, but actually I'm making a right mess of this. I want to get this onto the screen so that I can see it all. I'm not really sure how to... I'm not proficient enough. Oh, look, I can just click minus. There we go. There we go. Oh, that is wonderful. Look at that. The Raven, E.A. Poe, Edgar Allan Poe. For those of you who don't know, this is my favourite poem. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I pondered nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more, etc. And the Raven, of course, sits on the pallid bust of Pallas, which must be what this white thing is here, and only ever says the word nevermore. It's been parodied more times than I could mention. Probably my favourite parody of it is in The Simpsons. If you've never seen the, The Simpsons does Halloween specials. One of the Halloween specials that The Simpsons does is a sort of spoof of the Raven, and it's absolutely wonderful. But yeah, this poem really appeals to my love of language. It's just a work of sublime genius, and somebody has put it into. It doesn't actually tell me who. Oh, hang on, more pages. Oh, look, here's the puzzle. Oh, that is great. Look, I'm just going to be able to get the link. So let's have a quick look at the rules. I hope that you guys can see, by the way. I'm not. Maybe this is not in the right position on the screen. I've got no idea because obviously I didn't know what I was going to get when I launched it. But we've got standard Sudoku rules apply. The two lines are equal sum lines. The sum of the digits on a line within a particular region must be the same for all the regions the line passes through. Different lines may have different sums. I see. So we've got a slightly beigey coloured line there, a very short line, and then a raven line. Now the raven line is basically black, which is important, obviously. Each letter represents a unique digit. If a letter is in the grid, that digit must be put in the same cell. Okay, that sort of makes sense to me. What are these things outside the grid? Clues outside the grid are X sums clues, which indicate the sum of the digits of the first X cells in its row or column, where X is the digit placed in the first cell in that direction. So, well, at least I understand the rules. How do I do this then? Do I copy it? Copy the link, and then I can paste it into Google Chrome, which is what I usually solve in. Let's paste that here. Is that going to work? Yes, there's up. Oh, it says The Raven by Aspartagcus. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Aspartagcus, thank you very much for setting me this. I absolutely... Now, hang on, let me just... Is this in the right place? That's the thing I'm now worried about. I don't know that it is. The window that I'm recording in seems to be a slightly different size now compared to the size of the puzzle. I don't know how that can be true. Let's just click on... Yeah, look, it is. It's a different size. How strange. So I'm going to have to adjust this somewhat to get it into being the correct size. I don't quite know how to do this. Probably something like that is not going to be a million miles away. Let's just pop this there and there. Make it as big as I can so that people will be able to see it. That's absolutely wonderful. What a treat. What an absolute treat. Right, well, I'm going to get solving this in a moment or two, and you guys should definitely have a go at it as well. Look at this, the raven. What do I need to mention first? Let's have a quick mention of the Kickstarter. I think you just saw it's only got 12 days to go now, so if you want to grab a copy of Cracking the Cryptic's Greatest Hits, Volume 2, this is a mock-up of some of the pages from the book. Then do go over to Kickstarter and basically buy a copy of the book, which we've made some of it already, but we haven't made all of it because hopefully the book's getting bigger as we hit more stretch goals. The book keeps expanding, so it's really quite exciting. And as I say, you've got 12 days left to back the book. We've got the gas pack out. Now, this is a genuinely approachable sudoku pack, which is available on the Cracking the Cryptic app. There are 60 puzzles in there by Clover, Sam Kappelman-Lyons and Philip Newman, and they are really rather wonderful. Great way to learn about how to do the monstrously hard stuff that we typically attempt in the videos. What else? Patreon. We've got the 2 bonus videos about another language, which is this classic Sudoku by Jovial and Shye. So if you have any interest in rock hard, and I mean rock hard, classic Sudoku, and you want to know about weird and wonderful techniques like girth symmetrical placement, watch those videos. I would suggest definitely watch the Matt Bouyack one, because that goes into some detail about symmetry in Sudoku and what it means, and isomorphs of grids and things, and it really is, it's made very understandable. Wonderful video there from Matt. And also we've got the Hercules Labours of Hercules hunt. That's our November monthly reward. There's the picture drawn by Peter Veenis, and well, of course, an Aspartagcus is one of the authors of the Labours of Hercules hunt. Oh, that's great. So yeah, this hunt, for those of you who don't know, the puzzles in it are set by Peter, by Aspartagcus, and by Panthera. And Mark did a Panthera puzzle, I think, last night, and I'm doing an Aspartagcus puzzle today, so that's absolutely great. And let me read you out some names of successful solvers. I've been reading out these names in the order in which they've been received. So these entries came in a couple of days ago. Lady Ruatha, Scott Murdoch, Peter Green, Dave Mustang Lang, Grufty, Liam Landrum. It's lovely to hear, by the way, Liam, that you and your mum do the puzzles together, even though you're not in the same place. I like that idea. Joseph Costal, Daryl Gilbert, Zorro, 333 Res. I never know how to say your name, 333 Res. I'm sorry if I'm doing it wrong. Todd Warmken, John Rice, Joseph Duncan, and Joseph had a cool story, which is that an old friend of his who he hadn't spoken to for years texted him and said, "Do you watch Cracking the Cryptic?" because he'd heard Joseph's name being read out on the channel in response to last month's hunt. And so Joseph discovered that he and an old friend of his actually watch Cracking the Cryptic, which is really cool. Bob Hoff, Harry Balsack, John Andrew McCulloch, and Jessica Friesen and Winnie Schmidt, who worked together and also got through the hunt. So very, very well done to all of you, and a happy birthday to Anna, who's turned 20 today. And your friend Aurora wrote to us, Anna, and I think you're both over there in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. So it's constantly a surprise to me. I know it shouldn't be, but it is a surprise that these videos made from a Surrey attic get all over the world and apparently are enjoyed. But Anna, we hope you have a brilliant birthday with lots of cake. Now, with an opportunity to quoth the raven aplenty, let me have a look at this puzzle. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video, as usual. But now well, no, I'm not going to play immediately. I'm just going to talk about the rules for those of you who aren't familiar with equal sum lines, or X sums actually, because they are worth explaining. So an equal sum line, when it refers to regions, it's referring to boxes of the Sudoku. So what we're being told here, let's just highlight those two boxes for a moment. You can see if we look at the raven's head, which is made up of this equal sum line, we're being told that the sum of those two digits is the same as the sum of those three digits, is the same as the sum of that digit. Oh no, there's more, hang on. There's more in the middle box. The sum of all of those digits in the middle box, I presume. Yeah, okay, I can see why that must be the case. Sometimes with equal sum lines, it's every time you go into a box, it resets the count, but that can't be the case here, actually, because if that was true, those 4 digits would add up to at least 10, and that digit couldn't be a 10. Right, so we must be adding those 5 digits together. In fact, let's actually just do it fully. So what are we saying? We're saying that those 5 digits add up to the same as those 2 digits, add up to the same as those 3 digits, add up to the same as those 3 digits, add up to the same as those 3 digits, and add up to the same as those 2 digits. So that is how equal sum lines work. Now the beige line, all we're being told is that those 2 digits add up to the same number as that one. So that's one thing. Let's reset that. Now, the X sums clues, how do X sums work? Well, if you've watched the channel the last few days, you'll be very familiar with X sums. Let's imagine, how shall I do this? I don't really. Let's imagine this is the number 32. Okay, if this was the number 32, what we'd have to do first with an X sums clue is you look at the first cell next to the NE clue, which we're saying is the 32. And this tells you how many cells vertically sum to 32. So imagine this was a 5. That would be telling us the first 5 cells in this column sum to 32. If this was a 6, it would be saying the first 6 cells in the column sum to 32. And in fact, 32 is not a bad choice, because if it was 7, you could even do that. 7 cells could add up to 32 in a column, and that would mean these 2 cells add up to 13. If you know the secret, you'll know why that's the case. So that's how X sums work. Now you can have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video. I'm very tempted to record myself reading the Raven or reciting the Raven at the end of this video if I manage to solve the puzzle correctly. But with that, let's get cracking and see how to solve it. So, okay, I'm just looking at E. I've got lots of E's in the grid, and lots of E's in the X sums clues, which, I don't know. Okay, right, I noticed something when I was doing the example actually, so I'm going to go back to that rather than worry about the X sums. These 5 digits here, we know that those, the minimum I could make those digits add up to would be 15. If I make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be 15. So that means that these 2 cells have to add up to at least 15. So they've got to be at least equal to 6, because if they were 5, the other cell would have to be a 10. The same must be true here. That is also a domino that must add up to at least 15. Now we've got 3 cells there, 3 cells there, 3 cells there, so we're not actually going to learn much more about that. That's worrying. That's immediately worrying, because that means I am going to have to look at the X sum clues. I love the way, by the way, that the positioning of E.A. Poe has been presented in a line, and there's been some artistic license there. This is in the bottom right of its cell. That's in the bottom right of its cell, and then to get the Poe into the right position and it looked like a straight line, the P is in the top left of its cell, the O goes down to the bottom right. It's just so beautiful, it really is. Now, I almost had a clever thought then, which is that if you look at the tens digits for the N, V, R, it is possible to use all 4 In fact, I am going to have to talk about the secret here to explain what I'm about to say. Okay, well, let me tell you a secret about Sudoku. Now, it's something I only tell my favourite people, and if I do share it with you now, you mustn't tell anybody because it is a secret. And it's a secret. The secret is that any complete column of a Sudoku, indeed any complete box, any complete row, because it contains all of the digits 1 to 9 once each, sums to 45. So, what would happen if that was a 9? Then this clue would be saying sum the first 9 cells in the column, and therefore this clue down here would have to be a 45. So what that's telling us is that these tens digits here must be 1s, 2s, 3s or 4s, because we can't make them add up to more than 45. It would be impossible. Now, unfortunately, we've got 2 R's. Otherwise, we could have said we would have had a quadruple. So N, V and R are from 1, 2, 3 and 4, which we can N. Oh, I see. Okay, N, V, R. Okay, so those digits are 1, 2, 3 or 4. I'm just going to hang on. Let me just check this again. Is that really all I get from that? I've just got a feeling I'm not seeing a letter. I love the way it's spelled. I mean, it's so thematically beautiful, this. I cannot tell you how much I admire this. The Raven, Edgar Allan Poe, a raven drawn in the grid, and the words nevermore used in the path. It's absolutely stunning. Aspartagcus, just take a bow. Although we have to be careful with the raven, because the raven didn't take a bow, did he? Yeah. Open here I flung a shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not an instant stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. So the raven showed no obeisance. So bowing is a moot point when it comes to raven solving. Now, aha. Well, that V is a low number, so that can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 anymore. So that is... Oh, it's 17. Got it. Right. Okay. So, what are the... In fact, yeah, it's as simple as that. What are the actual options for this cell such that the yellow cells can add to a number that is capable of being reached by 2 different Sudoku digits? Well, the minimum the yellow cells can be, if one of the numbers 1, 2, 3 and 4 sits in here, would be if this was a 4. Because obviously if this is a 1, these numbers are 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 as a minimum, and that would add up to 20, and I can't make those 2 cells add up to 20. So I need to maximise this to minimise yellow. Now the minimum size of yellow is 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6, and 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6 add up to 17, and that is the maximum for 2 different cells in a box. So this must be a 4. This must be an 8-9 pair. This must be an 8-9 pair. These must be the numbers 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6. And these can't be 4s, I suppose. Are there any more V's in this grid? No, the Raven EA Poe has only 1 V in it. So this is now at least well, this is a 40 number now, a 40-something number, depending on the value of E. So E can't be 6, because then that would be a 46 clue. So this cell here, the minimum size of this clue is 41. which could be just 7 cells, I suppose, and that would leave behind a 1-3 pair. In fact, that actually looks likely, because that would give me an E here, which could be a 1. So hang on, let me think about this. So if this is 41 and that's 7, then I need, by the secret, the whole column adds to 45. These 7 add to 41. These would add up to 4, and they would have to be a 1-3 pair to do that. But that would suggest that this E is correct. So I think this might be right. 41 with a 7 here. What else can we do here? We've got to put 7, 8, 9 in this box, so they have to go in those cells. And that tells us A is a 7, 8 or a 9. I've got an A cell here, so that's 7, 8 or 9. Aha! Now I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple in column 6. So O is a single digit X sum, but that's a big number. So this number here has to be a 1 or a 2 now, I think. Because if this was a 3, we would be saying that the X sum is the sum of those 3 digits. And those 3 digits, because this is a 7, 8 or a 9, would add up to at least 10. So this must be a 1 or a 2, which means O could just be a 1, which would make that a 1. And put a 1 over here. Or, right, O is 1 or 9 only. Because if this is a 2, how do I keep O down? Oh, that's beautiful. O is not 9. Ha! Wow, O is 1. Because if we make this a 2, in order to keep this clue down to a single digit total, I have to make that 7. If I made it 8, the O clue would be a 10, which I couldn't put in the grid. So this has to be 7 now, but this still can't be a 9 here. Because if O is 9, this X sum is, or not X sum, this equal sum is impossible. Because we're adding 9 to something, and we need to put that something, well, the sum of these 2 digits has to go in this cell, and this would be a double digit number. So in fact, O is 1. O is 1. So that's a 1. So whatever that digit is, which is E, that digit is 1 more. And E is 1. Oh, E is not 1. Hang on, what's going on now with the value of E? E is now 2, 3, or 5. So that cell is 2, 3, or 5. That cell is 2, 3, or 5. And this cell is 1 more than E. So this cell is 3, 4, or 6. And that's going to be very important for the following reason. He says, trying to desperately think of what that reason might be. And not coming up with anything sensible at all. Okay, so how do we do this then? Is there some... We know that this is a 40-something clue, so we're now looking at... Oh, it's not 41 anymore. That cell's 2, 3, or 5. It's not 41 anymore, because we can no longer have E equals 1, which is what I thought it was going to be. Let me just think about this. I think we're really close to breaking through here. But unfortunately, I haven't quite worked out how to do this. Is it something to do with the values of N and R? Or is there a way now that I can tell whether this is... If this is 5, what are we saying then? We're saying that each of these numbers ends in a 5. So that would be 45. That would make this a 9 if it's 45. If it's 42, then that could still be a 7 or an 8, I think. And if it's 43, this would have to be an 8, and that would have to be a 2. Gosh, it's amazing how actually all of the options are still available. That's quite surprising to me, but it does seem to be true. Right, look, there's got to be a 1 over here. N is not 1 now. Where is n? N is over here. So n is 2 or 3. So this number is a 20-something number. So this cell... Oh, okay. Those... Right, we can't put 8 and 9 here. So this cannot be... The n cannot just be 20. So we're looking for at least a 4-cell sum then. Because if this was a 3-cell sum... The maximum we can make those digits add up to now is 16, and that we know that this tens digit is a 2 or a 3. So that's at least a 4. 4, 5, 6 or 7. It can't be 8 or 9. Right. And... Ah, I see. Right, now I'm going to return to this, I think. Because it's not that easy to make these 3 digits add up to 17 anymore. If that's a 3, these two would have to add up to 14, and they couldn't because 8, 6 and 5, 9 are not available. So if that's not a 3, then that's not a 2, which means E is no longer 2. So we're up to 4 or 6 here as the only possibilities. Now if this is 4, these two cells add up to 13, and they'd have to be 6, 7. 4, 6, 7. But oh no, V. I was suddenly thinking maybe I could eliminate 4 from here because V is 4, but no, in fact this is not a letter square, is it? So I can't do that. Is that what I meant to do, though? Oh, that is. I've done it. E's 5. Ah, that's it. That's it. It was simpler than I was making it. The reason E is 5 is because O is 1, and it says in the instructions that each letter represents a unique digit. So R can't be 1. And if R can't be 1, these two cells are a 2-3 pair. And that makes E a 5. So E is 5, take 5 out of all the yellow cells. E is 5, so we can just put 5 in. We can put 5 in, put 5 in, take 5 out. E is 5. So this is a 9, because this VE clue is 45. So therefore A is not 9, which means A is not 9. This is a 6 by mathematics, because 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. That's not a 6 by the power of sudoku. And, okay. So what are those two cells? Those two cells add up, this is 4 and 7, because these have got to add up to 11 to make those 3 cells add up to 17. And the only thing that we've got left, look, we haven't got 2, 9, 3, 8, or 5, 6 available. So 4 goes here, 7 goes here, that's not 7. So this is an 8, 9 pair. 4, there's a 4 in one of 2 places in box 2. And I think what I'm going to have to be careful about is keeping track of exactly which numbers I've allocated to letters. So I've now got a 2-3 pair in R and N down here. So that's either 25 or 35. 25 in 4? If that was a 4, these 3 would add up to 21, but those could... Right, what's the okay, these two cells are low, aren't they? They're a 2-3 pair. I've got a 2-3 pair in this column, And I don't believe it's now possible for these for 4 cells up here to add up to 25. And they certainly can't add up to 35. So that's not 4. So this is 6 or 7. That doesn't, I think, it would, if this was 7, it would rule out 25. Because the triangular number for 7 is 28. What about those squares? Ah, that's a 7 here. So this is an 8. Aha! And that's an A, so A is 8, that's a 9, that's an 8, that's a 9, that's a 7. Oh, maybe it's just Sudoku that's going to be our friend then. This is a 2-3 pair. And have we done all the... We've done 9s, we've done 8s, we've got a 7 in one of those 2 squares, we've got... RE. Oh, so, right, at some stage I'm going to have to work out which order these are in. I don't know if that stage is right now. It might be. And in this column I need 1s, 2s, 3s and 6s. Let's just put that in for a moment. And in this column I need 2, 3s and 4s. And that means... I don't know. I don't know what that means. These 3 digits have to add up to 17, and that's quite low. That might be it. So if that's, can that really be 2? That would make that a 6-9 pair, because it couldn't be a 7-8 pair. That would be interesting. It would place 6 here. What about if that's 3 then? That means 14, and with the 7 doesn't get rid of any options, so that's annoying. Okay. So instead of that, let's worry about... what shall we worry about? We've got O. O is 1. N and R are 2 and 3. V is 4. E is 5. So we haven't got 6 yet, have we? So maybe I pencil mark these 3 digits, which have got to be 6s, 7s, or 9s, I think. Ah, these can't be 9. That's going to be it. So this is a 6-7 pair, and that makes P 9. That doesn't do anything. That's so harsh. That's so harsh. Oh, okay. I've got a 6-7 pair in this column now. So does that help me with this X sum then? It's still, I think it's still got 2 options. It can still be 2 or... It's either 25 or 35. Yeah, okay, I don't see how to do that. What's RM? R is... we don't know. Ah, this is going to give me R. Right, look, I'm adding those 5 digits together to get something called RM. And those digits... well, they add up to 16 in terms of those ones, and the maximum those two could be would be a 6-3 pair. So there is no way I can make this add up to a number that begins with a 3. So RM must be 20 something, which means R is a 2, which means that's a 2 and that's a 3, which means that's a 3 and that's a 2. So what's that doing for us? I think that's going to be important, isn't it? Because now... so now these 3 digits are 16. How do we use that to our advantage? What's M going to be? It's not 1, it's not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, is it 0? Oh, that's sneaky. That's really sneaky. Each letter represents a unique digit. It must be 0. There are no other digits it could be. So this is 20. Okay, and what have we got at the moment? We've got 16, so we can't have 6 in here. So this must be, these 2 cells must add up to 4. So there must be a 1-3 pair. They can't be double 2 in the same column. So that's a 1, that's a 3, that's a 2. which means that's a 2 by Sudoku. And the top of this column must be a 7 and a 1, which is surprising, which means these squares don't include 3 now. So this is a 2, 6 pair. So this is a 3, 4 pair at the top of column 6. And we can... what does that mean? So I've basically got all the letters now. All I've got to do is understand the x-sum clues. So what's that number? This number is 25 in however many cells this is. It's definitely not that number, is it? Because it's not, we can't put a 5 here. So can it be done in 4? If this was 4, 14, and we're trying to get to 25, no it can't. So this number is bigger than 5, so it's at least 6, and it can't be 7. Oh, that's a 6, that's the key. If this was 7, we'd be adding those 7 cells up, and they would add up to a minimum of 28, and in fact they would add up to more than 28 because they include the number 9, and that's bigger than 25. So this must be 6, sort of by a bit of Sudoku and a bit of x sums. That becomes 7, that becomes 6, that becomes 7. This clue is 35, and it's summing those cells up, and we know the column adds to 45, so this must be a 4 because these two have to add up to 10. That 4 gives me a 4 here and a 3 here. That 6 gives me a 6 here and a 2 here, and that must be a little bit helpful. This is a 2, so these two squares are adding up to 15, and they don't use 7, 8. So this is 6, 9, and we can do that now. So that's 6, 9, that's 6, 3. There's a 3 in one of those cells by Sudoku, a 6 in one of these cells by Sudoku. And we have effectively done the NE clue, we've effectively done the VE clue, we have done the RM clue, we've done the O clue. RE, we're adding these 6 cells to get to 25, and at the moment we've got 19 in those cells, so these have to add up to 6 without being 1, 5, so this must be 2 and 4, and we can see the order. So that's 2, that's 4. Now might be the time we have to consider the bird's beak. Is there a line about the beak? I think there is. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door, quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have... oh no, hang on. Oh goodness, how can I not remember that? It's the last line. It's the last line. This is... I can't go on with the video. I cannot go on with the video now if I can't remember that. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Something like that. 5, 7, 8 here. This is 8 by Sudoku. It's funny when you look away from the grid how you can suddenly get things. This is 5, 7, but look, we know that these two squares have got to add up to 9. Okay, well that's not 5 because that would make that a 4 by maths. So that's a 7, that's a 2, that's a 5, that's a 7, that's a 1. What about those squares then? 1, 3 and 4. Boom. Can't do it. Bother. 1, 3. Literally I can't. Well, I can get a 4 out of that one actually. So there's a 4 over here. Maybe... have I done all... I think I've done all the clues now. So we've just got to do this column. 1, 5 and 8. That's a 5. This is a 1. It can't be an 8. Look, so that must be 8. So therefore we shall look at maybe this row. We've got 6 digits in it. 4, 5 and 8. Bobbins. That wasn't the right choice. Oh no, 4. That is the right choice. We can put 4 here. We can put 5 here. We can put 8 here. No, that was actually reasonable, it turned out. This is a 3-5 pair by Sudoku, so that must be a 1-7 pair by Sudoku, and there's a 7 here. Look, so 7, 1, 1 down here. That gives me a 3 here, which means we've got a 1-4 pair over on that side of the grid. And I've made a mistake, because I should have a 1 in here. How have I put a 1 here? What did I just do then? Oh, and you know what I did? That's bad, but it's not such a dreadful error. Because what I've done, when I've put that 1 in, I didn't remove my pencil marks, and then I just saw this 1 and thought I could use it, whereas in fact I didn't need to use it. Okay, so that hasn't made me feel terribly awful about myself, thank goodness. This is a 6-9 pair. This is a 1-7 pair. Still not resolving. Let's try the 6 digits we've got here. 3, 6 and 9. Oh, 6 here. Right, so this is 6. This is a 3-9 pair, and I can see that's giving me a 1 here, which means I've got a 3-4 pair here. I need to put 1 and 9 into this box, which means I need to put 8 and 2 over on this side. I'm sure this is all resolved somehow. It may be that I've missed a clue out. That is quite possible. And these squares down here are 3, 4, 7 and 8. So 8 can be placed in the corner, which gives me a 3 here, which gives me a 3 and a 4 there, a 4 and a 7 here, a 7 and a 1, a 1 and a 9, and a 9 and a 6. So that was all good. And something down here needs to work now. We've got 2 and 4. Right, the 4 and the 2 go in. The 2 and the 8 go in. The 8 and the 9 go in. The 9 and the 3 go in. The 3 and the 5 go in. That'll be a 5 then, and that should be a 6. And that is a very, very beautiful puzzle. Absolutely beautiful. Aspartagcus, thank you so much for making that. I think it was for me that the file said for Simon. Mark sent it to me as having to be opened on the stream, and well, hopefully it was very clear. I got a lot of pleasure from that. It was really, really beautiful, and it's reminded me, as I say, of one of my favourite poems, and I don't know why Alexa's speaking. And you may be wondering why I don't connect Alexa to my Wi-Fi network. Is because I think the lady in the device listens to everything. She hears everything. Don't like that. Anyway, let me know in the comments how you got on with the Raven. And I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.